It was banned before it was even built, yet somehow it became the deadliest fighter of World War II. The Messerschmitt Bf 109 wasn't just fast, it was a ghost in the sky, a machine that rewrote the rules of aerial combat. But here's the twist. This legendary aircraft was born from a secret competition, under a treaty that forbade its existence. So how did Germany pull it off, and why did this flawed design become the backbone of an entire air force? Let's unravel the story of the fighter that should have never flown, but did, and changed everything. The fighter Germany wasn't allowed to build. In 1934, Germany was playing a dangerous game. The Treaty of Versailles had slammed the brakes on its military ambitions, banning the development of combat aircraft entirely. But behind closed doors, the Reich wasn't just ignoring the rules, it was preparing to break them in style. The goal? Build the fastest, most lethal fighter the world had ever seen. Not just a plane, an airborne predator. To pull it off, they launched a secret competition. 4 companies entered the race: Heinkel, Arado, Focke-Wulf, and a lesser-known firm called Bayerische Flugzeugwerke, BFW. Each had their own vision, but one man stood out: Willy Messerschmitt. Messerschmitt wasn't just designing a plane, he was rewriting the rulebook. His obsession with weight, drag, and aerodynamic purity bordered on madness. Every curve, every rivet had to serve speed. He'd already stunned engineers with the Bf 108, a civilian aircraft that sliced through the air like a whisper. Now, he wanted to weaponize that elegance, and he did. His prototype was sleek, enclosed, and futuristic. While other designs clung to open cockpits and fixed landing gear, Messerschmitt's fighter looked like it had time-traveled from the future. It wasn't just different, it was dangerous, but that was only the beginning. A prototype that looked like tomorrow. When the Messerschmitt Bf 109 rolled out for its first test flight in 1935, jaws dropped. It didn't just look fast, it looked untouchable. While rival designs still clung to open cockpits and fixed landing gear, Messerschmitt's creation was a glimpse into the future. A fully enclosed cockpit? Unheard of. Retractable landing gear? That was science fiction. And the low-wing monoplane layout? It sliced through the air like a blade. The competition scrambled to catch up. Heinkel, Arado, Focke-Wulf, they all tried to match the Bf 109's performance, but they were chasing a ghost. Messerschmitt's fighter wasn't just faster, it was smarter. Every detail had been engineered for speed, agility, and dominance. The German Air Ministry saw it too. By 1936, the Bf 109 was chosen for mass production, but winning a design contest was just the first step. The real test was coming, and it would be written in smoke trails and bullet holes, because next, they sent it to war. Baptized in battle, Spain's skies turned red. Before the world knew its name, the Bf 109 was already drawing blood. Germany didn't wait for World War II to test its new predator. They sent it straight into the Spanish Civil War. It wasn't just a deployment, it was a proving ground. The Condor Legion, Germany's covert air unit, flew the Bf 109 against Soviet-built Polikarpov fighters. The difference was brutal. While enemy planes lumbered through the sky like relics from a forgotten era, the Bf 109 sliced through them like a scalpel, fast, nimble, and unforgiving. Pilots reported that the aircraft felt alive, responsive, agile, and deadly. It didn't just outperform its rivals, it humiliated them. The Spanish skies became a silent witness to a new kind of warfare, where speed and precision ruled over brute force. And just like that, the Bf 109 wasn't a prototype anymore. It was a weapon, a warning, a glimpse of the storm that was coming. But what made this machine so lethal wasn't just its combat record, it was the engineering hidden beneath its skin. Built like a bullet, the engineering that made it lethal. The Bf 109 wasn't just fast, it was engineered to dominate. Every inch of its frame was designed with ruthless efficiency. While other fighters still dragged fixed landing gear like dead weight, the Bf 109 tucked its wheels away mid-flight, slicing through the air with barely a whisper. That retractable gear alone gave it a speed edge most rivals couldn't touch. Its low-wing monoplane design wasn't just sleek, it was strategic. By attaching the wings directly to the fuselage, Messerschmitt created a more stable, more aerodynamic platform. The result? A fighter that didn't just fly, it hunted. But the real monster lived under the hood. Early models ran on the Junkers Jumo 210, a decent engine pushing 600 horsepower. Then came the Daimler-Benz DB601, and everything changed. Suddenly, the Bf 109 was a rocket with wings. Later variants got the DB605, unleashing a staggering 1,475 horsepower. And if that wasn't enough, some models came with a nitro boost system for emergency bursts of speed. It was like strapping dynamite to a scalpel. Top speed, 630 kilometers per hour. Climb rate, 18 meters per second. Range, around 800 kilometers. Perfect for for short, brutal engagements. And when it came to firepower, the Bf-109 didn't hold back. A central 20mm cannon fired straight through the propeller hub, delivering pinpoint devastation. Two 13mm machine guns sat over the engine, and optional underwing gun pods or bombs turned it into a fighter bomber when needed. It was fast, it was deadly, it was versatile, but even masterpieces have flaws. The flaws that nearly grounded a legend. For all its brilliance, the Bf-109 had skeletons in its fuselage. The same design choices that made it fast and deadly also made it unforgiving. Take the landing gear. Messerschmitt's narrow track setup saved weight and reduced drag, but it turned every landing into a gamble. Pilots dreaded touching down. One wrong angle, one gust of wind, and the aircraft could flip or skid off the runway. It wasn't just risky, it was terrifying. Then there was visibility. From the cockpit, rearward sightlines were painfully limited. In the chaos of a dogfight, that blind spot could mean the difference between survival and a sudden ambush. Pilots had to rely on instinct and luck more than they liked to admit. But the biggest flaw didn't show up until the Battle of Britain. The Bf-109 was built for short, high-intensity engagements, not long-range escort missions. Its fuel tanks simply couldn't carry it deep into enemy territory and back. German bombers flew into British airspace with limited protection, and the Bf-109 had to turn back too soon. It was like sending a sprinter into a marathon. Still, despite these cracks in its armor, the Luftwaffe refused to let it go, because Messerschmitt had a plan, and the Bf-109 was about to evolve. The Predator evolves, from fighter to Swiss Army knife. The Bf-109 wasn't just a fighter, it was a shapeshifter. As the war dragged on and enemy aircraft grew stronger, Messerschmitt didn't scrap the design. He upgraded it, again and again. The result? A machine that refused to become obsolete. Enter the Bf-109G, nicknamed Gustav. This wasn't just a facelift, it was a full-blown transformation. Heavier firepower, reinforced armor, and the ability to carry bombs up to 500 kilograms. Suddenly, the Bf-109 wasn't just dominating dogfights, it was pounding ground targets and taking on armored bombers. One aircraft, multiple roles. Need a fighter? Done. Need a bomber? No problem. Need reconnaissance? Strap on a camera pod. The Bf-109 adapted to every battlefield demand. It was the Swiss Army knife of the Luftwaffe, versatile, lethal, and always ready. And while newer designs emerged, none could dethrone it, because the Bf-109 wasn't just surviving, it was evolving, and the pilots flying it, they weren't just soldiers, they were legends in the making. Pilots who turned metal into myth. A fighter is only as legendary as the hands that guide it, and the Bf-109 had aces who turned it into a myth. These weren't just skilled pilots, they were skyborne tacticians, pushing the aircraft to its absolute limits and beyond. Take Erich Hartmann. The name alone sends chills through aviation history. With 352 confirmed aerial victories, he wasn't just the highest-scoring ace of World War II, he's the highest-scoring ace of all time, and he did it all in the cockpit of a Bf-109. Hartmann didn't just fly the plane, he became part of it. His tactics were surgical, his instincts razor-sharp. To him, the Bf-109 wasn't a machine, it was a weapon of precision. Then there was Hans-Joachim Marseille, the star of Africa. Flying over the deserts of North Africa, Marseille racked up 158 kills, often taking down multiple enemy aircraft in a single mission. His dogfighting style was fluid, almost artistic, and the Bf-109 responded like a dance partner that knew every move. These men trusted the aircraft with their lives. They knew its quirks, its strengths, its limits, and they pushed it anyway. Through blinding speed, brutal climbs, and dizzying dives, the Bf-109 became more than metal. It became memory. But even legends age, and as the war dragged on, the skies began to shift. A legacy etched in smoke and steel. Even as the war turned against Germany, the Bf-109 refused to fade. Allied fighters grew faster, tougher, and more advanced. But Messerschmitt's creation kept flying. Through dwindling resources, brutal winters, and relentless bombing raids, the Bf-109 stayed in the fight. It wasn't just surviving, it was enduring. By the end of World War II, over 33,000 units had been built, making it the most produced fighter aircraft in history. It had fought in every major theater, from the scorched skies of Spain to the frozen front lines of the Eastern Front. It had carried legends like Hartmann and Barkhorn into the record books, and it had evolved with every challenge, adapting its engines, weapons, and roles to meet the moment. But its impact didn't end with the war. The Bf-109's design became the blueprint for modern fighters. Enclosed cockpits, retractable landing gear, low-wing configurations. It wasn't just a product of its time, it was ahead of it. So why do we still talk about the Bf-109 nearly a century later? Because it wasn't just an aircraft, it was a symbol of innovation under pressure. pressure, of engineering pushed to its limits, of a machine that defied the odds and carved its name into history. And now, the question is yours. Was the Bf-109 truly the greatest fighter of its era, or does another aircraft deserve the crown? Let us know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you enjoyed the journey, and subscribe for more stories that fly beyond the surface. See you in the next one. The fighter that shouldn't have flown, but did. The Messerschmitt Bf-109 wasn't just a machine. It was a rebellion against limits. Born under a treaty that banned its existence, it clawed its way into the skies through sheer innovation, ruthless design, and the vision of a man who refused to compromise. From its sleek silhouette to its roaring engines, it redefined what a fighter could be. It dominated dogfights, evolved with every challenge, and carried legends into history. And even as the world changed around it, the Bf-109 kept flying, adaptable, relentless, unforgettable. So now the question hangs in the air. Was the Bf-109 truly the greatest fighter of its time, or was it simply the most iconic? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if this story pulled you in, and subscribe for more deep dives into the machines, myths, and moments that shaped history. Until next time, stay curious, stay sharp, and keep your eyes on the skies. It was banned before it was even built, yet somehow it became the deadliest fighter of World War II. The Messerschmitt Bf-109 wasn't just fast, it was a ghost in the sky, a machine that rewrote the rules of aerial combat. But here's the twist. This legendary aircraft was born from a secret competition, under a treaty that forbade its existence. So how did Germany pull it off? And why did this flawed design become the backbone of an entire air force? Let's unravel the story of the fighter that should have never flown, but did, and changed everything. The fighter Germany wasn't allowed to build. In 1934, Germany was playing a dangerous game. The Treaty of Versailles had slammed the brakes on its military ambitions, banning the development of combat aircraft entirely. But behind closed doors, the Reich wasn't just ignoring the rules, it was preparing to break them in style. The goal? Build the fastest, most lethal fighter the world had ever seen. Not just a plane, an airborne predator. To pull it off, they launched a secret competition. 4 companies entered the race: Heinkel, Arado, Focke-Wulf, and a lesser-known firm called Bayerische Flugzeugwerke, BFW. Each had their own vision, but one man stood out: Willy Messerschmitt. Messerschmitt wasn't just designing a plane, he was rewriting the rulebook. His obsession with weight, drag, and aerodynamic purity bordered on madness. Every curve, every rivet had to serve speed. He'd already stunned engineers with the Bf-108, a civilian aircraft that sliced through the air like a whisper. Now, he wanted to weaponize that elegance, and he did. His prototype was sleek, enclosed, and futuristic. While other designs clung to open cockpits and fixed landing gear, Messerschmitt's fighter looked like it had time-traveled from the future. It wasn't just different, it was dangerous. But that was only the beginning.